Part 32. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 311. Several people looked at each other and said, "Senior engineer, you say, we all listen to you." Several people looked at the man in the middle who had just spoken. "Let's get the benefits first, and then pretend to surrender and act according to the situation when we leave this island. There will be many opportunities. It is difficult to escape on this island," the man named Gao Gong said in a low voice. Shen Yun heard the words of several people clearly from a distance, but he didn't say anything. It was good to give them such a feeling. At least he wouldn't think about losing everything. As for whether he could run away after leaving the island, that was really impossible. There was the incident of Javi and his escape back then. After so many years, if someone can still escape with such little cultivation, then wouldn't they become less and less effective? The senior engineer is right. Anyway, now we are freed from Jiowiha's control. With our skills, even if we want to develop there in the future, it will be easy. The people next to him immediately echoed in agreement. "Senior engineer, please talk to them and convey our thoughts." They only had 2 minutes to talk briefly. If they wanted to talk in detail, Shen Yun would definitely not give him this time. "We want 5 million and prepare a boat." "No, you don't have the right to negotiate terms now. I'll give you 2 choices. If you surrender yourself voluntarily, then your circumstances will not be so serious. If you cooperate actively, the punishment will be lighter. The second one is for me to take action, which can be life or death." "Never mind," Shen Yunliao said in a cold voice. "Then didn't you just ask us to discuss it?" The other party was unconvinced. "I'll give you 2 minutes, just to let you discuss how to choose, not to discuss the benefits." As soon as Shen Yun finished speaking, he caught sight of a man pointing a gun in this direction. Shen Yun waved his hand, and a ray of water passed through, and the man's neck was immediately controlled. "Don't make any small moves, I can spot it." This hand really scared those people opposite. "Sister, I don't want to do anything, please let me go," the person controlled by Shen Yun on the opposite side howled. "You just touched the trigger. Just pretend I didn't notice it, right?" Shen Yun rolled the opponent's gun back with water. "How about it? The others have thought about it. When there are more people, I won't use my hand. It's easy to control, but it's possible that a few people will be killed or injured when the time comes." "We surrender," a person on the other side shouted. "If someone took action, the rest would be easy." Within a few minutes, the other party surrendered and surrendered. It can be considered as scaring everyone. "That's awesome, it has to be me." Sister Yun Su Ling gave Shen Yun a thumbs up while controlling the person. "Okay, these people are just a small problem, these are the big problems." Shen Yun pointed to the hundreds of people who were sitting and squatting on the ground in a daze. "I felt like I was being imprisoned. Although no one was pointing a gun at me anymore, I was still stunned." "Is everyone okay? We have arrested him." "You can get up." Su Ling looked at the hundreds of people and felt a headache. The underground people basically didn't react, but a few of them glanced here and quickly retreated into the crowd. "What should I do?" There is no response. Su Ling really had never encountered such a thing. Shen Yun has encountered such a thing, but at that time people had turned into souls, and he just spent some time to transcend people. "What should I do now?" The person just doesn't move and speaks as if he didn't hear me. "Why don't you guys wait here while I go see what's going on with Captain Yan and the others? Then let him handle the affairs of so many people. He also knows more about the policies above," Shen Yun suggested. "Okay, we'll keep an eye on things here. Don't worry, we'll be careful," Su Ling responded immediately. Shen Yun moved much faster on his own, and soon he saw Yan Han and the others. The situation here was much more tragic than that of Shen Yun and the others. Some half-completed experimental products are here. Xiao Bengqiye was furious when he saw this situation. With this display of power, the situation on the scene was not going to be tragic. "Are you all okay?" Shen Yun first looked up and down with the little jumper, and then asked the others. "It's okay. How are you doing over there?" Yan Han and the others are currently dealing with some wild animals. Although these animals were also captured and kept for a long time, they were frightened by the fighting outside. The scene immediately became chaotic, and Xiao Bengqiao helped to suppress it, but these low-level monsters are not as rational as humans, and they will still run around if they are afraid. "We have hundreds of people over there, all waiting to be dealt with." Shen Yun explained the situation there. "There are hundreds of people, my God," several people were startled. "Yes, hurry up. The things here have been dealt with, but the things over there are still waiting," Shen Yun urged. "Okay, speed up," Yan Han greeted, and the people next to him immediately moved a little faster. Many of these animals are disabled. It will be a problem to live independently in the future. Although they are frightened now, they are not easy to deal with. What difficulty? Shen Yun and the others directly trapped these small animals together, leaving a few people to watch here while the others walked over there. Seeing hundreds of people squatting on the ground, everyone was silent for a moment. "Now we can only find a way to clear the fog outside so that the supporting people can come in, otherwise, these people will definitely not be able to take them away with us and the small boat." Yan Han looked at these people and said. "Which one of you can tell me how to deal with the fog outside?" Shen Yun asked, standing in front of a group of people who were arrested. "We really don't know this. We were also arrested in the first place. We were just doing experiments when we came in. We don't need to do anything else. The formations on the island were all made by Jiaoweha." Hearing what the other party said, Shen Yun started to believe it. For people like Jiawei and others, the way to save their lives cannot be in the hands of other people. Just like the black fog, even if it looks like it is not a good thing, they would rather put it in his own body. "Then where does he spend the longest time?" Shen Yun continued to ask. "In there. He often stays there for half a day. None of us have been there. Only puppets can go to that place." Several people pointed to the location further inside without hesitation. "Is it too cold? Let's go in and take a look." Shen Yun greeted people. "Okay." Yan Han nodded. Little Benki stayed here with the others, while Shen Yun and the others took two more people and walked directly inside. The dark passage, with only the sound of human footsteps coming, does not seem like a place where living people live. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 312. Chapter 312, 312, Numbscalp. Be careful, Jiaweha is a formation master. No one knows if there is any formation ambush in his lair. Shen Yun reminded several people around him. "Who dares to be careless when walking in this place? It's so dark that I'm afraid something will suddenly come out from the side," said a colleague who followed me. "It's not that exaggerated. It's easy to spot something moving, but sometimes you don't know about things like formations until you walk in," Shen Yun comforted. When several people heard what Shen Yun said, they became more careful, and the fireballs in their hands became bigger one by one. "Shen Yun, look at the lines on the wall. Are they formations? You see these stones are arranged very regularly. Are they in a formation?" Shen Yun then received constant inquiries. This made Shen Yun a little bit dumbfounded. It's not that exaggerated. He comes to this place often. If so many formations are really set up, it will be troublesome for him to go back and forth by himself. After all, the formations don't recognize people. "Oh, that's true." A few people heard that. It made sense, and it was indeed like this. Shen Yun and the others hadn't walked long before they saw a room that was so dark inside that it felt as if any light entering it was swallowed up by the darkness. "Be mentally prepared. This should be the opponent's war room," Shen Yun reminded. The three of them were a little confused. They had to be mentally prepared for the war room. Could it be that there were some prohibited weapons or some biological and chemical weapons inside? Shen Yun looked at the eyes of several people looking at him and understood that these people probably didn't quite understand what he meant. A ray of spiritual light shot directly into the room, and the room that was not illuminated by the flames was directly illuminated by this spiritual light. A few people also understood what Shen Yunrang was getting ready for. There were rows of puppets standing inside, as well as animal puppets. Were they not war preparations? Don't go forward. There is a formation inside. No one can say whether you will be turned into a puppet if you enter, Shen Yun reminded. I had already stepped out, but the severe cold stepped back again. These look like they are all elementary puppets. They have been successfully refined. This place has a very strong yin energy, and it seems to be their place of life and death. As long as they are refined here for a while, these puppets will be similar to those outside. You can move freely. Shen Yun looked at the puppet inside carefully and said to the person next to him. Have they become puppets, but their faces still look like normal people? My colleague asked sadly. You all came in through the door. Do you remember any of the people underground who don't look like normal people? Shen Yun asked in return. How sad it would be if their family members found out about this. My children seem to be fine, but they have no emotions or senses, Yan Han murmured. It's not that they don't have feelings and five senses. According to what we say, these puppets are already corpses, so everything about them is gone. It's just that Jiao Wei's refining made these corpses move again. Although Shen Yun she felt uncomfortable, but the next thing still had to be dealt with, so she had to break the formation here and take care of the funeral affairs of these puppets. Knowing what was going on here, Shen Yun easily broke the formation. The puppets inside have now lost their masters, so they will not actively attack people like zombies, but start to move randomly. The flexibility of these junior puppets is not very good. Shen Yun and the others blocked the door. And can't get out. What should we do? Several people looked at each other in confusion. Thinking that there were a group of corpses walking around in front of them, their scalps were numb. Tie your hands with a rope and take them out directly. What else should you do? Do you want to deal with it directly here? Shen Yun put forward his own suggestions and did not forget to ask other people's suggestions. Take it back and send it home to them, the person next to you asked in a low voice. How scary it is to send this home. Who knows if this thing will turn into a zombie and bite people? Thinking about this scene, the other person suddenly trembled. It's not as scary as you say. These puppets also need energy. It won't take long for a junior puppet like this to stiffen its limbs and completely die. So, don't think about such terrifying things later. They probably won't be able to wait. Let's send them home. At this point, Shen Yun felt a little regretful. Oh, that's right, it's hard to see her even for the last time. Ahem, hurry up and get to work. Yan Han coughed lightly next to him, waking up the two people who were meditating next to him. The two of them saw that Shen Yun was already busy with work. They looked at Shen Yun with envy and started to work quickly. It's great to have a storage bag. You can bring whatever you want without taking up space. It has a rope. When will they be able to afford a storage bag with the money they have saved? Shen Yun didn't care what they thought, and quickly started to tie the puppets in the room into a bunch. He tied it to the rock next to him and said, keep going inside. Put this here first and talk about it when you come back. There are 4 people in 4 groups. It's quite funny to look at them tied here, but Shen Yun and the others can't find it funny at all. Let's go. Yan Han took the lead and walked forward. Shen Yun's consciousness was always paying attention to the situation ahead. He thought that the place ahead, where Jiao Wei often stayed, must be full of dangers, but he didn't know that there was nothing there. With a false alarm, they went directly to a large room, which was very messy. There were a lot of materials in the room, and it didn't look like a place where people often rest. Are these the formation materials? He studied. Several people opened it and took a look. They all had familiar symbols, which look similar to the formation diagrams in the best-selling book published by Zhang Qing'an. It's very possible Shen Yun flipped through it. There was a lot of research information in it, and looking at the previous information, Jiao Weihua seemed to have entered the Tao through formations, but later in order to quickly improve his cultivation, he entered the evil way. Looking through the Jindan Thunder Tribulation record again, Shen Yun only had 9 at that time, while Jiao Weihua actually had 3 times more. It is true that the bad guys live for 1,000 years, so many thunders did not kill them. Pack up all the information and take it back for processing. Yan Han looked through it and made a decision immediately. I don't agree. Some data can be destroyed directly here and let him stay here with this island, Shen Yun said immediately. Time is tight, and we have no way to tell what is useful and what is bad in such a short time. I can tell, Shen Yun immediately answered. Yan Han was silent for a moment. Can you guarantee that I will be completely screened out? I'll make up for whatever is missing, Shen Yun said firmly. The atmosphere was a bit tense for a while. The 2 people next to them looked at Shen Yun and the others like this and didn't know what to do for a moment. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 313. Chapter 313, 313, Evacuation. Boss, don't quarrel. There was no quarrel, we were discussing things. I will listen to you this time and be sure to finish the things that need to be destroyed. Please. Yan Han explained, and finally decided to listen to Shen Yun. People's hearts are unpredictable. Who knows whether there will be such people in the future, so it's better to deal with these things in advance. Okay, give me 10 minutes, please put all the information on this table. After Shen Yun said that, he sat down on the chair and started to look through the information. Now Shen Yun's spiritual consciousness is very powerful, so it is not difficult to read these things at all. The things in this are all shown to him by Jiao Wei and Gigi. They are concise and easy to understand, so Shen Yun can easily distinguish what is dangerous information. The people next to him were dumbfounded as they looked at Shen Yun's book, with after images appearing as he flipped through the book. Is this reading? What are you doing standing there? Get moving quickly, take care of things so we can go out. When Shen Yun was changing books, he saw 3 people looking at him and immediately reminded him. Oh, right away the 3 people hurriedly took action. After a while, there were 2 piles of information piled up in front of Shen Yun. There was the sound of flipping through books, and they didn't dare to breathe in the severe cold next to them looking so fast. Who dares to interrupt? In less than 10 minutes, there was a small pile of information around him, all of which recorded Jiao Weiha's puppetry, soul refining and soul stirring skills. These are what we need to deal with. Shen Yun pointed at the pile of things and showed them to several people. Just make sure. Having said that, Yan Han still picked up the documents and looked at them a few times. As expected, the records were all things that could not be seen. Okay, I've taken care of it, Shen Yun said, directly controlling a ball of fire and burning the pile of information until not even a scrap was left. I'd like you to put away the remaining things, you can still fit them in there. Okay. Shen Yun waved his hand, and all the information on the table disappeared. The 3 people took away all the information in the room. This time, there was not a single piece of paper in the room. Take another look to see if there is anything else in the room. If not, we will retreat. The formation that controls the sea fog should not be here. Let's go outside to check the situation, Shen Yun said, and began to rummage inside the room. Stand up. The room was turned upside down by a few of them. There was really nothing, not even a formation, let alone a secret room or something. Let's go. It looks like there's nothing left. There's a palace outside here. Let's go over and have a look, Shen Yun said first. The 3 people nodded, left the room, and took the puppet tied there from outside. When Su Ling and the others saw Shen Yun and the others, they saw a group of people following behind them, and everyone couldn't help but become nervous again. Only Xiao Bengtao sat there calmly and motionless. Don't be nervous, low-level puppet. No one can control it now, and it has no attack power, Shen Yun said quickly. The people here have been counted. There are 357 people in total, 187 are domestic, and the rest are foreign. Su Lei and Yan Han reported the situation. 203 people are disabled and injured, and 38 people are in poor mental condition. There were not many people, but the situation was tragic. Shen Yun and the others paused after hearing this number. Pack it up, let's take the people out of this place first. Yan Han gave the order directly. Everyone else started to move. After such a long rest, the people squatting on the ground had all come to their senses. When Shen Yun and the others said they could go out, they all stood up tremblingly. A group of people walked forward one after another. Boss, there's water outside, and it's going very fast. The guard outside saw that the people inside had not returned, so he hurried in and said. When he came in, he saw a large number of people walking outside. Suddenly my head felt heavy. Thinking about the small gap when I first came in, so many people evacuated outside. It would take years and months, and the water would probably flood the place by then. He just squeezed people and walked inside to send the news inside. Let's see how the minister and others make a decision. Boss, it's not good, there's water outside. Li Jing quickly came to Yan Han's side and said. This sound was not suppressed, and the few people who stayed here to deal with the aftermath heard it. Chen Yun, have you brought the spirit stone? Yan Han immediately looked at Shen Yun. Bring it. Shen Yun immediately understood what he was going to do. I don't know how long it will take for the teleportation array they came from to teleport these people out. There must be other teleportation arrays here, but it's not easy to find them. It's better to set up your own array to get there faster. Okay, let's do it, Yan Han said and asked someone to clear a place. The one-way teleportation array is much easier to draw than the two-way one. Shen Yun still has the base of the array in his hand, so it really doesn't take much to set up the array. Long time. The positioning point of the formation is on the beach outside. This distance is short, it does not require many spiritual stones, and it is very accurate. If it is to be teleported over a long distance, I am afraid that the spiritual stones will not be enough, Shen Yun and Yan Han explained. Okay, I'll take a few people over there first, and take these puppets with me. Yan Han made a decision immediately. Okay, be careful when you go out. We will deal with the people and puppets inside. There are still many outside. If they see any movement, they will definitely cause trouble for you. Pay attention to protect yourself, Shen Yun explained without hesitation. Looking at Yan Han, he took a few people to stand and place the spirit stones directly towards the formation eye. As soon as the light of the formation flashed, the people inside the formation disappeared. The spirit stone that Shen Yun placed on the formation's eye also dimmed. This method was fast, but it consumed too much spiritual energy. Others, hurry up and get on as many as you can. No need for ink marks. Shen Yun saw some people hesitating and shouted quickly. You're just waiting for the water to come over before you leave, right? I told you that if you don't come, I will. Then no one will provide you with spiritual stones. If you can't leave, then it's none of my business. Shen Yun shouted, and the survivors who were still a little stunned immediately reacted and ran directly into the formation. In the face of life and death, everyone used their full strength. Don't be anxious, we can all leave now. More people were entering, and Shen Yun and the others could only pull them out, which wasted time even more. After struggling for several minutes, this time the person really left this place. The next time was the third and fourth time. Anyway, the speed was very fast. When the water surface reached the calf, the only people here were Shen Yun and Xiao Benqi. How about we two take care of all the things here so that we don't see the light of day again and harm others someday, Shen Yun asked the little Banqi on the side. Okay, Xiao Bengjiao sat in Shen Yun's arms and agreed without thinking. Anyway, it didn't belong to him, so he didn't feel bad. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 314. Chapter 314, 314, We will be reborn in Nirvana. The water did not delay their movements. The two were moving very fast, and the place they passed could no longer be seen as it was before. Okay, let's go. Shen Yun threw two explosive charms in the research room and called out to the little bouncer who was having fun. Let's go. Xiao Bengjiao jumped directly into Shen Yun's arms. The two of them wielded their swords directly on the water, walked through the narrow gap, and directly reached the teleportation array that came in. The moment the formation was activated, Shen Yun activated the two explosive symbols. Shen Yun and the others disappeared into the formation. With a bang, the entire space began to collapse and a large amount of sea water poured in. Operation error, it was a little too fast. Shen Yun wiped the water on the little bouncing head and said apologetically. It's okay, sister, I can just dry it myself. Don't wipe it, your hair will be wiped off, Xiao Banqi said resentfully. Okay, then you can dry it yourself. Shen Yun put down his hand sarcastically. Let's go out. The study room outside is a camouflage. They have seen it before and there is nothing in it. Let's go. Little Banqi took the lead and walked outside. The two people walked all the way through the room and arrived at the palace outside. The formation inside had not disappeared, and the puppets continued to patrol dutifully. The two of them were not in a hurry to go out. They first sent a message to Yan Han, and then wandered around inside with Xiao Bengjiao. They just saw Jiao Weihe's formation record chart inside, so Shen Yun knew the formation in this palace. Where is the key point? Shen Yun plans to break it from the inside first, and then deal with these puppets. As for the heavy fog on the sea outside, that needs to be looked at carefully. There is no such thing in Jiao Weihe's records. Shen Yun can only check what is going on in the palace here. If he can't find it on the shore, he will probably went into the sea to look for it. The two people were very fast and went straight to the formation's eye position. When they got there, they jumped into flames and the entire formation disappeared. From a distance, the palace that looked majestic and complex shrank directly after the formation disappeared. More than half, even if there are a few simple small alleys left. As for the rooms, they are even more simple, adding up to about 10 houses in total. Shen Yun and Xiao Bengjiao were stunned when they saw such a scene. I really thought the people here were very rich, but I didn't know it turned out to be an illusion. This person is really awesome. How many spiritual stones does it cost to spend such a huge amount of money to create such a illusion? Xiao Bengjiao murmured. Said. He didn't use the spirit stones. Come and see where the spirit stones are placed in the formation eye. Shen Yun was stunned for a moment before he realized what he was doing. He looked directly at the position of the formation eye. He originally thought that the stone placed in the formation eye was. After taking a closer look at the consumed spirit stones, I saw that these stones still have inconspicuous lines carved on them. These lines have not been seen in Jiao Weihe's records. Shen Yun picked it up and looked at it carefully. This is somewhat similar to the teleportation array, but it also looks a bit like the spirit gathering array. Let me take a look. Xiao Bengtai was very curious. He took a few small stones and looked at them. Isn't it like a thread has been tangled? I can see something. Xiao Bengtai looked at it for a while. I do not understand. Shen Yun's head was full of dark thoughts when he heard this. You should learn about formations from now on, otherwise you will be laughed at to death if you say this in front of other experts. Whoever laughs at me, I will send him a ball of fire, Xiao Bengji said arrogantly. That person is probably going to cause trouble for me, Shen Yun said, as if he, as a parent of a naughty child, had been trained so hard that he couldn't hold his head up and didn't dare to think about it. "It's okay, I told him not to come," Xiao Benqi said a little domineeringly. "It can't be like this. It's a domineering behavior of yours. It's been a long time, but this is what happened to Jia Wei today." Shen Yun looked at the little Beng Jiao and said seriously. He had thought that the child was still young, and he, as a person with inheritance, he basically doesn't care about anything. Now I realize that this is not the case. Phoenix can be said to be at the top of society in their place, so no one dares to provoke the Phoenix clan. Even the cubs, no one dares to provoke them. They beat the little ones. No one can say that the old man can bear the wrath of the Phoenix clan. But the times are different now. He is the only Phoenix here. If his identity is revealed, even if the country has special feelings for the Phoenix, there is no guarantee that people from other countries will covet the little Phoenix. So, if Xiao Benqi lives in this world, he should not live in a low profile. At least he should not be too high profile. Otherwise, such a big person with such great strength will definitely attract people's investigation. Ants can kill elephants. As her contracted beast, and having received the inheritance from her father, she has taken over the responsibility of taking care of her. She doesn't dare to joke about this matter. "Do you mean I will die?" Xiao Benqi asked in disbelief. Of course, Shen Yun said affirmatively. "Impossible, our Phoenix family cannot die, we will be reborn in Nirvana," Xiao Benqi said proudly. "Phoenix Nirvana has a number of times. I hope you didn't waste your life because of this kind of thing. It's not worth it. Your father may come to find you one day in the future. We don't know what their world is like yet. So you should make more plans for the future, every life is precious," Shen Yun said solemnly. "Okay, then I will listen to you, keep a low profile, and work hard to improve my strength. When the time comes, people will be scared when they see me, so don't be afraid that they will laugh at me," Xiao Benqi said in compromise. Although the child is very arrogant, he still listens to others' advice. Shen Yun patted Xiao Benqiao's head with satisfaction. "Let's put these things back and study what formations these are." As Shen Yun said that, he collected all the small stones in the formation holes. "Let's go, there are still a lot of puppets to deal with outside." After finishing the matters here, Shen Yun greeted Xiao Bengchuo and walked outside. The formation disappeared, but the puppets in the formation did not disappear, so this small place was simply filled with puppets. A puppet takes 3 steps and a small team takes 5 steps. This is definitely not an exaggeration. As Shen Yun and the others were fighting, reinforcements came over. Yan Han called a few people over to help, which speeded up Shen Yun and the others. It didn't take long for them to rush to the beach to meet up. The opening on the sea through which they came in is slowly closing, and only the boat that Shen Yun and the others took when they came over is left on the entire pier. "We have everyone at the dock under control. Have you found a way out inside?" Yan Han came over and asked. "Not yet, it's empty inside. The room we came out of had a bed and a study room, but nothing else was found," Shen Yun said directly. "Can we use the wind to blow away the heavy fog on the sea?" Su Ling next to her thought of a way. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 315. Chapter 315, 315, Spiritual Veins. Shen Yun glanced at Su Ling in surprise. "You can try, but I think it's unlikely. There seemed to be a strong wind here not long ago." "Well, since the strong wind can't blow it away, I guess I can't either." Su Ling couldn't think of any other way. "This island is so big, let's think of a solution, but with so many people, eating is really a big problem." Shen Yun looked around. The island is neither big nor small, so he still needs to look at the formation first. Is it located elsewhere? We need to get out as soon as possible, otherwise it will be a big problem. Look at those disabled people. If they don't see a doctor, they will probably lose their lives. Then Sule, please take a few people to watch here, and we will take people to check around. Yan Han directly arranged the task, and the remaining people divided into two and went directly to various places on the island. The dangers on the island have basically been dealt with, and there is not much danger for two people together. Shen Yun was very fast, and with a little bounce, the two of them quickly circled the island. Sister, have you discovered anything? Xiao Bengqiye asked curiously. There isn't one outside, but I didn't notice it just now. Now the small rocky mountain in the middle of the island looks quite abrupt, Shen Yun said thoughtfully. Then let's go over and have a look, otherwise we won't be able to eat anything good even if we're stuck on this island. Little Beng Qiao immediately became interested. Let's go. Shen Yun directly controlled the direction and flew towards the hill over there. On this small island, which is mostly made of sand, mud, and rocks, the sudden rise of the hill is indeed quite an eyesore. Standing there naked, at first glance, it seems that it was artificially made from behind. It's nothing. Did we guess wrong? The hill was really small. Shen Yun and the others completed it in a few minutes, and Xiao Benqi didn't find anything. This hill really does exist in this place, but it doesn't look very good. Shen Yun confirmed this matter. Sister, we are here to find a way out, not to see if this is actually here, Xiao Bengji said strangely, bouncing on the ground twice. Now he is no longer like the chick that just hatched. He jumped so hard that a lot of rocks fell from the hill next to him. Hey, no, this place is not simple, Xiao Bengqiye suddenly said. Shen Yun also felt the spiritual energy leaking out at the moment of shaking. This place may not be as simple as it seems. The two people looked at each other and said, Sister, let's dig up the mountain and take a look, little Beng Tai suggested with bright eyes. We still have a mission, Shen Yun said helplessly. It's okay, this doesn't take much effort. Xiao Benqi was very curious and wanted to see what was emitting aura underground. Anyway, I won't be able to find a way out for a while. We can't say that anymore. We should at least go back and talk to others. Shen Yun disagreed with his suggestion. Sister, go ahead and leave the things here to me. Little Benqi turned her back and started to work. Okay, then please pay attention to your safety, Shen Yun said and rushed directly towards Yan Han. Have you discovered anything here? Yan Han and the others were still looking for clues when Shen Yun arrived. No, where are you? Yan Han waved his hand and asked Shen Yun. No, but we found something on the hill over there. It probably has nothing to do with the formation outside. The golden dragon is checking over there. Shen Yun also waved his hand. By the way, when you dealt with the people at the dock, did they tell you anything? Shen Yun asked. I asked, and they didn't know anything. They only knew that the fog in this place would lift once every 3 days, about 6 hours a day. Yan Han told Shen Yun everything he knew. If we really can't find a way to unlock the formation, we can only wait until 3 days later for our people to come and take these people away. This is the last resort. That's all we can do. Let's look for it again. You go and see what's going on the other side of the hill. It's not enough to put a child like Jin Long there, Yan Han said with a frown. Okay, I've already looked at the outside area, you can look at other places, Shen Yun explained. Okay, go ahead and contact me if anything happens. Shen Yun didn't hesitate. Seeing that Yan Han insisted on looking for it again, he had no choice but to go back to Xiao Benqi. When Shen Yun arrived, Xiao Benqi had already demolished half of the hill. Are you so fast? Shen Yun said in surprise. This is the result of my restraint. Otherwise, with one move, I'm afraid the island will be destroyed, Xiao Benqi said proudly. Okay, you are the best. We can't stay here for too long. We still need to help after we finish handling the things here, Shen Yun explained, and he began to get busy. The two men leveled the hill without much effort, and their eyes lit up when they looked at what was under the hill. Look, my suggestion is right, sister, hurry up, let's dig up the spirit stones, Xiao Bengqiao said in a brisk voice. What is in front of you is a mid-level spirit stone mine. After removing the hill above, it is quite open below. I don't know if Jia Wei and he discovered this place originally. Anyway, it has been discovered by Shen Yun and Xiao Banqi now. At present, it is not certain how big this spiritual stone mine is. Anyway, the spiritual energy is particularly strong, so there must be a lot of spiritual stones here. Hurry up and dig some to make up for today's losses. The rest will probably be handed over to the state. Shen Yun knelt down and began to dig out the spiritual stones politely. Little Banqi didn't say anything, but the movements of his hands were not slow. He kept moving his hands, and soon the area around him became like a hill, and the entire ground was sunken. Shen Yun was not polite and put the things away directly. No, there is a spiritual energy moving here. Xiao Banqi is particularly sensitive to the treasures of heaven, materials, and earth, and he felt something different after a while. You mean there is spiritual veins in this? Shen Yun immediately guessed what Xiao Banqi was talking about. Yes, Xiao Bangqiao stood up and stopped digging for spiritual stones. Instead, he kept pacing on the ground. Shen Yun also stopped moving. These spiritual stones are really nothing compared to the spiritual veins. As long as the spiritual veins are obtained, a new spiritual stone mine can be generated. The conditions for the generation of spiritual veins are very harsh. Generally, a top-grade spiritual stone mine is required to produce them. This spiritual stone mine looks like a medium-grade spiritual stone from the outside. Since there are spiritual veins, it means that there must be top-grade spiritual stones inside. Shen Yun directly cooperated with Xiao Banqi to begin to block the spiritual veins. After a while, his consciousness locked on the position of the spiritual vein. Sister, I'll come. Xiao Banqi took the initiative and used his strength to the extreme. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 316. A burst of light flashed, and a hole appeared directly in the ground. The spiritual veins that were moving slowly underground were now being caught in the hands of Little Bouncer. You are moving very quickly. Let me put it in a jade bottle for you. Shen Yun did not move slowly. When he saw something, he took out a jade bottle. Xiao Banqi looked at the spiritual veins in the jade bottle with satisfaction. Didn't our family rent a large mountain? Then we will put this spiritual vein in the mountain, so that we will have a spiritual stone mountain in the future. Little Banqi has already thought about how to deal with it. Shen Yun didn't expect him to arrange it like this. Don't you need to put it in your Fenjiao? No, I don't like to stay there. The spiritual energy there is abundant, so there is no need to add another spiritual stone mine. Xiao Bangqiao waved his hand and said, Okay, I listen to you. Let's deal with this matter when we get back. By the way, we can set up an array in the place we rent. After all, we will raise some spiritual beasts and monsters in the future. It would be bad if someone comes in and injures them accidentally. Shen Yun respected Xiao Bangqia's decision. At worst, Xiao Bangqia changed his mind one day, and just dug out the spiritual veins. The two people put away the spiritual veins, and then dug out a lot of top-grade spiritual stones from the hole. Just as they put away the things, other people who came out to look for clues felt that the fluctuations of spiritual energy were coming over. What happened here? We feel the spiritual energy fluctuations from a long way away. Su Ling came over and saw that Shen Yun and the others were fine, so she asked curiously. Look at what's inside this hole. Shen Yun pointed directly at the big hole left by digging the mountain. This is Lingxi mine. Su Ling also widened her eyes. Yeah, you're lucky, there's still this thing on this island. I'm thinking now whether Jia Weihe is stupid for doing these things. As long as he finds this spiritual stone mine, the spiritual stones in it can't make his cultivation level rise upwards. What kind of puppet will he need at that time? Su Ling murmured while looking at the Lingxi mine. Who says it's not the case, but he probably hasn't discovered this place before. We also thought about digging up the hill because it felt so strange. As soon as we dug up, we saw a scene like this. Shen Yun smiled. Said. Occupying this island, but not even discovering the spirit stone mine on it, the result is that God is no longer on his side. Su Ling couldn't help but sigh. Several people next to him nodded in agreement. However, although the spiritual stones and spiritual veins were found, there was no way to dispel the fog outside. Shen Yun felt that maybe he should really go to the sea to take a look. The Lingxi mine will be dealt with later. For now, the main purpose is to find a way out. Shen Yun told everyone and prepared to go to the sea to have a look. Come and see what I found. Shen Yun and Yan Han were discussing the matter of going to the sea when they heard shouts from the seaside. At first glance, it turned out that someone had already entered the sea in advance and was carrying something upward. Several people hurried over and asked, "Are you okay? Are you in danger?" "It's okay, I just encountered a vortex below. Fortunately, I grew up on the beach, so I touched my forehead. Look what I found." Huang Jian wiped the blood on his head nonchalantly. He motioned to Shen Yun and the others to look at what he had in his hands. Several people were treating the wound on his head, while others were looking at the big stone in his hand. With the regular lines on it, you can tell at a glance that this stone slab is engraved with a formation. Is this formation recorded in the documents just now? Yan Han looked at it carefully and asked Shen Yun and the others uncertainly. No, it's not recorded on it, Shen Yun said firmly. It's a bit similar to this one, Shen Yun said, taking out a small stone that he had just put away from his pocket. We just found this at the entrance of the palace. What kind of formation is this? Several people took a look at it and asked Shen Yun directly without any clue. I'm not sure yet. This looks like a spirit gathering formation, and there seems to be other formations sandwiched in between. There is no way. Shen Yun has inheritance in her hands, but she has to learn all these by herself. In the formation, on the other hand, I have to admit that I am not as good as Jia Weihe. If he does not go astray, he will definitely become a well-known formation master. There are many such stones on the seabed. I can't pick them up, so I can only bring one up for you to see. It seems to me that the patterns on them are all the same. Huang Jian saw that several people had already come to a conclusion, and then put himself underneath. I recounted the scenes I saw. Since the small stones you just saw are related to the formation, then these stones may also be related to the formation on the sea, Yan Han guessed. It's possible, Shen Yun nodded. I'll go down and pick up all these rocks and take a look. Can you swim? There is an undercurrent below, which is difficult to control and quite dangerous, Huang Jian warned when he saw Shen Yun wanting to go down. Don't worry, with my current strength, it won't be difficult to control the water for a while, Shen Yun said with a smile, and told Xiao Benqi to be obedient on the shore before walking into the water. She felt a little suffocated when she first entered the water. Shen Yun was about to use his spiritual energy to separate the water, but unexpectedly the suffocating feeling disappeared. He felt as if he was wrapped in the gentle sea water, which was extremely comfortable. Shen Yun paused for a moment, thinking about the dragon blood purification he received. Dragon is the king of water. Maybe his current feeling is related to that purification. Shen Yun did not remain calm and directly used spiritual energy to guide Huang Jian. Separated a space. Shen Yun saw Huang Jian giving him a thumbs up, and also praised him. Shen Yun nodded and pointed forward, without showing that he was any different from him. Huang Jian nodded and swam forward. Shen Yun followed, and not far away, he saw many rocks in the water that looked like rocks. That's right there, Shen Yun heard Huang Jian say. He nodded to show that he understood, and swam directly over. With a glance of his consciousness, he knew that those were stones with formations engraved on them. After collecting these, Huang Jian said there were no more. Shen Yun looked around, pointed upward, and motioned Huang Jian to go up first while he looked around again. Huang Jian saw that Shen Yun was more stable than him in the water, so he nodded and swam directly up. After confirming that Huang Jian had reached the water, Shen Yun began to move quickly in the water. She was much faster by herself than two people. Going around the island, we found a few more stones, put them away, and then returned to the beach where we met. There are a lot of stones here, and I don't know what the formation is. Shen Yun directly released the stones. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 317. All the stones are piled together like a hill. Not only Shen Yun and the others saw it, but a group of people over there who were rescued by Shen Yun and the others also saw it. Everyone could not help but shudder when they saw the stones. Do you know what these things are? Shen Yun noticed their reaction and took 2 steps in that direction. No, I don't know. Everyone lowered their heads, as if they were scared. If you hide this matter, you won't be able to get out. We can only hold on until 3 days later. I don't know if some of you can hold on until then. I don't know if you want to give it a try or not. Just give up. Shen Yun glanced around and said coldly. Some of the people sitting there lowered their heads and said nothing, while others looked around. I said. A clear voice sounded, and Shen Yun saw an inconspicuous girl in the crowd stand up, but the light in her eyes, but it's frighteningly bright. Then tell me. Shen Yun looked directly at her. Everyone has seen this stone when we came in, and the patterns on it will be stained with our blood after being carved. The girl's tone was calm, without any fluctuation. Then the other party will draw a pattern on our bodies. From the moment the pattern is drawn, we can feel the spiritual energy cultivated in the body disappearing every moment. Gradually, the absorption cannot keep up with the disappearance, and it will gradually become weak, and without adequate nutritional supplements, it will die. The other party's tone was calm, but Shen Yun and the others' brows tightened. These people who were captured were watching themselves dying. How desperate they must be at that time. Where are those people who died? Someone asked curiously. Some were turned into puppets, and some were thrown into the sea, the girl replied. If anyone dares to resist, they will die faster, just like those who have less things on them. Can you show me the pattern on your body? Shen Yun looked around and saw a lot of people with disabilities. It seemed that there were also people who resisted. But resistance was the result, so everyone was scared. Of course the girl turned around and lifted up her clothes. The man here was confused by her actions and immediately turned his head. Shen Yun and Su Ling walked over and stood next to her. The wound on his back has not healed yet, the island is humid, and the condition of the wound looks very bad, but he can still clearly see what kind of pattern it is. How long have you been here? Shen Yun asked, carefully examining the pattern and the condition of the wound. It's been more than a week, right? I don't know. You can't see the time changing even if you stay there, the girl said uncertainly. Have you never thought about running away? Su Ling asked. I've thought about it, but I don't dare. There are examples around me. I think it's more important to save my life for the time being. A few more days is just a matter of days. Isn't this opportunity coming? The girl said easily. This optimistic attitude is incomparable to the people next to me. Okay, put down your clothes. I can see clearly, seeing the patterns on the other person's body, and then thinking about the patterns on the stones. Shen Yun already had the answer in his heart. Now he had to confirm whether these people had the same patterns on them. Such a pattern? Who else can show me the pattern on the body? Shen Yun turned around and asked. With the first person standing up, the others did not hesitate much. More people lifted up the clothes on their backs to show Shen Yun the pattern on the back. Okay, please, Shen Yun said and walked towards the rocks over there. How is the situation? Have you confirmed what these are? Yan Han and the others asked quickly when they saw Shen Yun coming. It's basically confirmed. You know the stone statues, right? Although these stones don't look like stone statues, the effect is almost the same. These formations absorb the spiritual energy from the human body and then circulate it to form the heavy fog on the seaside. The secret that the formation can operate without the spirit stone formation at the eye has been solved this time. Normal people really can't think of this method. Only smart and crazy people like Jia Wei can think of it. Can it be solved? Everyone asked with concern. Give me some time, Shen Yun said, taking out the pen and paper from the space and starting to evolve. Everyone calmed down their voices when they saw Shen Yun's movements, and even his movements became much smaller. By the time Shen Yun came up with a solution, night had fallen. Everyone had caught a lot of fish from the sea and was settling the matter for dinner. Sister, you're okay? Xiao Benqi, who was eating, was the first to notice Shen Yun's condition. Okay, after I finish processing this pile of rocks, we can go out. Shen Yun's words did not delay her actions. She directly took out the brush and cinnabar from the space and started to get busy. Others couldn't sit still when they heard that Shen Yun had a solution. They all came over and asked, "Do you need help?" Of course, anyone who has learned the formation techniques from Mr. Zhang's book and can draw is here to help. Shen Yun was not polite and took out a few more brushes from the space and placed them next to him. You guys look at me first how to draw. Shen Yun started painting directly on the lines carved on the stone, one stroke at a time, forming a new pattern together with the formation on the stone, and then the stone turned into ashes. When everyone saw the result, they immediately became excited. They memorized the drawings drawn by Shen Yun and did not rush to start. Instead, they practiced on the beach next to them for a while. After mastering it, they started to draw on the rocks. Several people moving together is much faster than Shen Yun alone. My spiritual energy is no longer disappearing. I don't know which person the stone corresponds to. Anyway, Shen Yun and the others have been working for a while, and suddenly heard the people over there shouting, followed by the sound of feedback one after another. Everyone took advantage of the night. I vaguely felt that the fog outside had dissipated a lot, and I was suddenly full of motivation. Look, you can see outside half of the stone disappeared. The fog has become very light, and the shadows of several ships on the sea can be seen in the distance by the moonlight. Shen Yun and the others couldn't help but speed up when they saw such an effect. By the time the moon reached its zenith, the hill-like rocks had turned into a pile of sand. It's done. Shen Yun put away his things and looked at the sea. The big ship above seemed to have noticed that the fog had dissipated, and it lit up with a faint light, flickering. It's our ship, that's a signal, several people said happily. There are a lot of rocks on the bottom of the sea here. Big ships can't get through. Let's get on a small boat and transport them over there. The severe cold immediately made people start to take action. The wounded will go first, and Shen Yun and others will go behind. These are professional ships, and they are fully staffed. I don't worry about these people having other thoughts on board to cause trouble. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 318. Chapter 318, 318, Island Closure. Several people then pulled the puppets and brought them onto the boat one by one. Then another group of people got off the boat, led by Li Ming. I didn't expect you to come here. How have you been lately? Are you almost healed of your last injury? Shen Yun asked with a smile. Everything is fine, I am very healthy now. Thanks to you, I've been doing well recently. The people at home who were bossing me around have finally stopped. Now I have hired professionals to take care of my family's property. Although my business is not as big as before, I still have fewer things to do than before. Yes, thank you. Li Ming said with a smile. Shen Yun was stunned by what he said. Although he was unhappy with his father, stepmother, and stepsister, after the auction, he left the capital without doing anything. Did something happen at home? Li Ming was also stunned for a moment and immediately responded, Oh, it's okay. I'm just doing well recently. I also took over the family business. It's good. I'll take the initiative to ask Yang to pick you up. Why, there's no one on this trip. Something happened. It's all good, except that I found another spirit stone mine when I was looking for the exit. Shen Yun didn't go into details and said with a smile. There must be something he didn't know about. After all, what the Li family did that day. It's not like he offended himself alone. Maybe someone did this quietly when he didn't know it. But since Li Ming doesn't care, he doesn't need to care about the feelings of those three people. After all, it's all their own. Looking for it? Lingxi mine, Li Ming really didn't know. When they came here, they just said they were here to take care of them, but they really didn't say anything about the Lingxi mine. The Lingxi mine was discovered temporarily. I have arranged for a team of people to stay here. I will arrange for more people to come when I get back. But there is one thing. This place is close to the high seas. If we have any big movement here, it is estimated that it will attract prying eyes from outside forces. Yan Han came over after handling the matter and heard Shen Yun and the others talking about the Lingxi mine. Then what you mean is that this matter can only be done quietly? Shen Yun felt very sad when he thought that external forces were staring at this place like hungry wolves, and then they wanted to carve up the spiritual stone mine he had discovered. Accurate. Things have to be done quietly, and if the island can be completely hidden like before, it will be safer, Yan Han said. Well, it turns out that I can set up the fog formation. Don't you know how to set up a teleportation array in the cold weather? Let's just set up a two-way teleportation array. Anyway, there are spiritual stones here now, so it will be more hidden. Shen Yun He Yan Han discussed. The two-way teleportation array is really problematic for me. Our team is still studying the two-way teleportation array, but so far it has only been tested on items and has not been tested on humans. Yan Han did not hide it, and there was indeed progress in this area. Slower than Javi and here. It's okay. I've memorized Jiowiha's two-way transmission array. I'll draw it for you later and you can try it. In this regard, I have to admire Jiowiha's genius. The two of them discussed it and saw that most of the injured on the island had been evacuated. The two of them were not idle and immediately arranged for people to dig for spiritual stones. Shen Yun and the others also began to prepare for the formation. Shen Yun carries a lot of things in his space, so he won't have nothing when he needs to use them this time. After deciding on the formation plan, Shen Yun took the spirit stones and ran all over the island. Yan Han didn't have to be so complicated. He only had to set up the formation at the chosen place. The two people divided the labor and cooperated, and with the help of several other people, the formation was quickly completed. Okay, if you have to leave, hurry up and get on the boat. I'm going to activate the formation. Shen Yun saw that the cold work had been completed and quickly called everyone to retreat. Leaving the agreed people to station here, Shen Yun and the others boarded the boat directly. After the boat passed the formation area, Shen Yun completed the last step of the formation directly outside. A mist quickly rose from the sea and gradually enveloped the island. A light flashed, and the stationary ships on the sea started to move. Two large ships and one small ship quickly sailed towards the other side on the water. When he saw the lights on the shore, Shen Yun heard slightly excited cries from the boat next to him. This mission can be considered a success, but those who died will never come back. Shen Yun sighed. These are not your fault, don't take it to heart. Su Ling comforted her from the side. I'm just sighing. If I feel guilty, I probably won't be able to live anymore. Shen Yun smiled. Let's go down first and see if there is any help over there. Shen Yun pointed to the big ship over there. Said. The people on the boat got off one after another. Shen Yun and the others went down, but there was no movement on the big ship over there. Everyone, go over and help. These people need to be treated and observed. The people on the boat are a little excited yet, so please pay attention. Before Shen Yun and the others could go over there, Yan Han turned around. Greeting people. Shen Yun and the others rushed over there without any delay. The crowds of people above were walking downstairs, and Shen Yun and others hurried over to maintain order. After a while of busy work, the person who responded also drove over, and everyone was put in the car and sent to a fixed place for arrangement. The only thing that was difficult to deal with was the group of puppets. You have arranged these puppets, and I will not participate. Shen Yun went over to greet Yan Han. I have arranged for people to handle it. Let's set up the formation now. The place has been arranged. Yan Han took the initiative to say. Okay, if the things are done early, you can go home early. Shen Yun said goodbye to the others, and went directly to Yan Han in the car in his direction. The formation here is arranged in a special place and is very safe, Yan Han told Shen Yun on the road. Okay, I have no objection, Shen Yun nodded. When he arrived at the place, Shen Yun knew where this special place was. Looking at the soldiers walking upright inside, there should be no safer place than this place. The car was parked outside, and the two people entered and registered, then contacted the people inside to pick them up, and then they got inside smoothly. Excuse me, this happened temporarily. I really can't think of the safest place around here. Yan Han introduced Shen Yun and Xiao Banqi, but he had no intention of introducing each other, and Shen Yun didn't care. Follow them straight forward. We already understand the situation, and we're honored to be able to help. The other party didn't say anything. He nodded kindly to Shen Yun and led the people towards their destination. The place is relatively remote, but it is definitely the safest location. If you want to get to this place, you must pass through the entire military camp. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 319. This place is well chosen. Shen Yun looked around and praised. There are 2 spare places in the specially selected place. If this one is not suitable, I will take you to other places to see, the other party said politely. It's appropriate, thank you, Yan Han said quickly. Okay, you guys are busy, I'll go over and check on the training situation first. The other party saw that Shen Yun and the others had determined the location, and immediately left in a sensible manner. As soon as the people left, Shen Yun and the others checked the place and began to work. Although there was no help from others, the 2 of them were not slow, so the formation was completed quickly. Would you like to experiment first? Yan Han suggested. Okay, how about I do it? Shen Yun agreed with this decision. No, I can't let you do the experiment, just wait. After saying that, Yan Han walked directly towards the person standing guard not far away. Shen Yun heard Yan Han asking the other party to find a pig. He saw the people over there looking at him in confusion, and finally agreed to help. After a while, the pig that was going to the canteen was carried over by several people. Yan Han directed several people to put the pigs in the designated location. Brother, what are you going to do? You're not going to kill our pigs, they're a big treasure in logistics, the boy carrying the pigs asked with a smile. Don't worry, we'll give you a pig if you lose it, Yan Han promised. Okay, then you are busy. Several people took a few steps back and stood together with the people standing guard. Shen Yun and the others don't care. Anyway, these people won't talk nonsense when they go out. Moreover, teleportation arrays will be more widely used in the future, so they will know about it sooner or later. Shen Yun directly took out the spirit stone and placed it at the eye of the formation. After a while, the formation lit up. The big fat pig that was grunting on the ground just now disappeared in a flash. Shen Yun didn't know the wide-eyed reaction of the people over there. Anyway, they breathed a sigh of relief. No matter what, just send it out. Okay. Just wait. If they receive it, they will definitely send it back. The two of them were no longer in a hurry. Shen Yun directly held Xiao Banqi and sat aside, while Yan Han began to deal with the weeds next to the teleportation array. The people over there hesitated for a while and then came over. "Brother, where is our pig? Were we dazzled just now?" the same person asked carefully. "No dazzling, don't worry, your pig will be back soon. If it doesn't come back, I will give you one." Yan Han thought they were worried about the pig. "No, that's not what we meant. I just want to ask, is it possible for people to just swipe away when they stand there? If you want to give it a try, you can apply when the pig comes back and see if the boss agrees to give it a try." Yan Han was in a good mood at the moment and suggested to them kindly. "I don't want to try it. This seems to be very life-consuming. Just go ahead and get busy. I won't disturb you anymore." A few people retreated again. Shen Yun and Xiao Bengqiye couldn't help but laugh when they looked at these people. These people were a bit cute. Shen Yun and the others didn't have to wait long. The big fat pig that grunted just now appeared in the same place again, but in a different direction. There was an extra piece of paper on it. Shen Yun picked it up and took a look. Sure enough, it was a note left by those people on the island. "It's done." Shen Yun handed the paper to Yan Han. "I'm relieved now." Yan Han sighed and took a look at the position of the formation. It was very convenient, but it cost more spiritual stones. One pig directly cost them 5 spiritual stones. If they transport people or goods in the future, it would probably cost more. Thinking of this, Yan Han glanced at Shen Yun and thought about what she said about the sky spider silk being able to be exchanged for a storage bag. He would ask later if he could exchange it now. "Excuse me, we put this pig to good use." Yan Han greeted the people over there. "Please help me carry it back, thank you." "You're welcome, we have learned a lot today." Several people happily came over and carried the pig away. Those who have just left will come here again as if they know that Shen Yun and the others have taken care of things. "Excuse me, we have already done it. Please ask someone to guard this place. Someone should be using this place in the next few days." Yan Han went over and said to the person. "Don't worry, I will definitely keep an eye on this place for you." The visitor nodded and didn't ask Yan Han what he had done in this place. He just sent someone over to guard it. Shen Yun felt relieved seeing the other party being so solemn. The two of them settled their matters and were taken out of here again. "The teleportation array consumes too much spiritual stone. The sky spider silk you mentioned before can be exchanged for the storage bag. Can it still be exchanged now?" Yan Han asked directly after getting in the car. "Yes, but you have to wait for a while. After all, it takes time to refine this thing." Shen Yun nodded. "Okay, don't worry about this. I'll have someone send you the sky spider silk to your home when you get back." "Okay." Shen Yun agreed. The two of them did not look back and walked directly towards the city. Yan Han wanted to deal with the puppets and that group of people, while Shen Yun wanted to go home. Her current focus has shifted to teaching, and she is basically not asked to do any tasks that are not particularly difficult. Shen Yun thought about how he had to prepare a lot of content to be taught in school when he went back. He felt overwhelmed. Even if there was information in the space, he still had to get it out. He was not willing to take out those ancient books for others to see. As soon as he and Yan Han parted ways in the city, Shen Yun took Xiao Banqi directly to his home. When I got home, it was just noon. No one asked what Shen Yun was doing. Seeing that Shen Yun came back safely, he greeted Shen Yun and Xiao Banqi for dinner, and no one asked about anything else. "We have already settled the matter of renting the land. We went over to pay the money yesterday during the meal." Shen Chen told the story again. "It's so fast, how many days will it take to get back?" Shen Yun was a little surprised. Of course, she also thought about how many days it would take to get back from her mission, but she didn't know it would only take a day or two. "It's a coincidence. That day when we went to transfer money, we happened to meet someone who came to the house to inform us. The two of us went directly to settle the matter. We brought back the contract and everything. We will show it to you later, Shen Chen explained. After dinner, Shen Yun read the contract. The right to use the nearby mountains for the next 75 years belongs to her. As for the above restrictions, they have no impact on Shen Yun. After all, she is not trying to develop the mountains to plant anything. She just wants to have a large territory, so that many things she wants to do will be easier to do, and in her own territory, there is no need to talk about privacy. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 320. We have already visited this area in the morning, and 2 experts said that many of the spiritual plants we raise at home can be transplanted to the mountains for a try, Shen Hong said on the side. Okay, third brother, please discuss this situation with the 2 of them. Shen Yun directly entrusted this matter to Shen Hong. He was very interested in this matter and was learning alchemy to learn more about the habits of spiritual plants. It's also good. By the way, you 3 will follow my third brother. Shen Yun pointed at the 3 apprentices and said. Okay, master. Third master, please give me your advice in the future. Several people were very polite. When they heard what Shen Yun said, they immediately stood up and spoke to Shen Hong. Shen Hong's face twitched. He was obviously not used to being called like this, but the first day of fright was over. He waved his hand to signal a few people to sit down quickly. You can just call me third uncle from now on. Okay, several people nodded obediently and sat down. By the way, in addition to learning about Lingzi from Uncle San every day, the 3 of you also have to practice martial arts with your family members in the morning, Shen Yun continued. The 3 people nodded obediently. Shen Yun looked at the 3 people's worry-free expressions, and felt a lot of pressure in his heart. They all had their own ways of cultivating, so they didn't have to worry about it. They would cultivate on their own, but if you call yourself a master, then you can't just do anything. After making arrangements for the near future, Shen Yun planned to go to the mountains to have a look. I'm going to go to this kind of lively thing will definitely not be missed by Xiaobian. We want to go to originally, the family only had a few acres of land, but now there are suddenly many hills. The whole family is very enthusiastic about this. Even if they can't grow food, they still want to go and see it. This time Shen Yun, as soon as he said go out, everyone responded. But as soon as these words were said, the older ones looked at each other and said, you young people can go, but we 2 old people are not going, Shen Kuliang said first. Since everyone wants to go, let's go together, just in time to see where this place is suitable for living. Grandpa and Grandma, didn't you say you want to find a place to raise some chickens, ducks, and geese in the future? It's near home anyway, so we're going to have bring something to eat and something to live in. Let's experience camping outside today. People in the city don't have the chance to come to such a big mountain. Shen Yunmi agreed with Shen Kuliang's suggestion and put forward his own suggestion. Fathers and mothers, please follow us. Ifen and I are at home. There must always be someone watching at home. Our physical strength could not bear such a long mountain road in the past. Uncle Shen Libo thought for a while and decided not to follow. He and his wife, he is already old and has not cultivated, so his physical strength is not as good as that of the 2 elderly people at home. Everyone go, everyone go. There is nothing to see at home. The eldest daughter-in-law, the second daughter-in-law, let's go. Let's make some food to take with us. The rest of us will prepare some things for sleeping outside. We will stay at our house today. Spending so much money on the property for one night, how can we not go out and have a look? In the end, Yang Xiaoko made the decision. Okay, the children at home were very happy to know that they were going out, especially this kind of activity with the family. None of them let the adults talk about it, and they all went back to their rooms to pack their things. As for a few those who go to school live on campus, so don't worry about them. Shen Yun also called his 3 apprentices and Xiao Benqi to go back and pack their things. Today, everyone was together. The uncle and his second uncle who were not planning to go had no choice but to go and do their own work. It has been more than an hour since everything was packed up. Carrying the anti-mosquito medicine bag carefully prepared by the 3 young apprentices, Shen Yun took the lead, followed by Shen Hong and Shen Hong, and everyone set off towards the mountain. After passing through the small bamboo forest, we completely left the territory of Baiyun village. It's really my first time to come to this place. I always heard from the villagers that there are snakes and beasts in this mountain. Today I saw it is not bad. Yang Kankan looked at the green mountains, even the grass was so green. Well, my home is really nice everywhere. Mom, don't be careless, there are really snakes in this mountain. Shen Yun thought about the snake he saw in the tomb at the beginning, and now he still had goosebumps. Your mother, I am not afraid of snakes now, Yang Kankan said proudly, holding a sickle in his hand. That's right, except for a few sisters-in-law, an uncle and his wife, and a few little furry children on their backs who have no cultivation skills, the rest of the group can still deal with a small snake. Coupled with the fact that Shen Yun and Xiao Benqi were standing nearby in awe, ordinary small animals really didn't dare to come and join in the fun. The mountainous area rented by Shen Yun cannot be seen or walked through in one day. In the middle of the afternoon, Shen Yun and the others chose a relatively flat place to set up camp. I lit a fire and grilled the steamed buns I had prepared for lunch. I grilled a few winged fish from Shen Yun's space and sprinkled some salt on them. All the men, women, and children in the group ate them. I couldn't help but smack my lips. What kind of fish is this? I remember there is a stream in the mountains. Can we raise some? It's so delicious. Mr. Shen, who has never had any requirements for food, said after he was full and thought about it for a long time. We can give this a try then, but this kind of fish has wings and has relatively high requirements for water quality. I don't know if it can be raised in this place. Shen Yun really doesn't dare to give a guarantee. If it can't be raised by then, the old man should be disappointed. Okay, if we can get fry then, let's give it a try. If it doesn't work, just put some small fish and shrimps in the stream. It will save us trouble when we want to eat in the future. If we live a little, it will be enough for our family. Yes, the old man didn't force it. The family had a heated discussion about what the mountains were used for and where they could grow things. They were excited, but it was already late. Shen Yun urged them all to go to bed. Shen Yun was setting up a simple shed. There were no mosquitoes or anything. The breeze from the mountain was blowing, not to mention how comfortable it was. Shen Yun stretched out, lay down on the straw mat next to him, and rested comfortably for a while. Yun Yun, didn't you rest last night? The first person to wake up in the morning was Shen Kuliang. When he came out of the shed, he saw Shen Yun meditating facing the east. I rested for a while. I'm not sleepy anymore. I'll take advantage of the strong spiritual energy to practice for a while, Shen Yun said with a smile. How was your rest last night? It's good. It feels cooler than at home. Shen Kuliang stretched his muscles and bones. When he heard Shen Yun say that he had practiced well this time, he shouted directly behind him, making everyone who was lying down get up. Without waiting for a greeting, the family cleaned themselves up and lined up to start practicing the physical training.